The air in the garage area holds a distinct electric tension as the haulers pull into the sprawling landscape of Talladega Superspeedway. It is a place where legends are forged in the slipstream and championships are lost in the blink of an eye. This weekend, however, the atmosphere is heavy with something beyond the usual pre-race anxiety. There is a palpable sense of uncertainty, a lingering question that hangs over the crew chiefs, the drivers, and the millions of spectators tuning in. Can a stroke of the pen fundamentally alter the physics of chaos? NASCAR stands at a critical juncture. The sport, known for its high-speed chess matches and drafting battles, has found itself embroiled in a debate over the very nature of competition on its most volatile track. The mandate has come down from the highest levels of the sanctioning body, a strategic pivot designed to address the growing frustration regarding fuel management. The goal is to shatter the stagnation of the fuel-saving era, a style of racing that has seen the pack move in a synchronized, slow-motion stalemate rather than the frantic, aggressive sprints fans crave. This adjustment, finalized for the upcoming Cup Series event on April 26th, is not merely a tweak. It is a fundamental restructuring of the battleground. The traditional architecture of the race, designed with shorter opening segments and a long, drawn-out final push, has been dismantled. In its place, a new tactical map has been drawn. Stage 1 is now slated to conclude on lap 98. Following that, the race will compress, with the second stage ending at lap 143 and the final sprint to the checkered flag wrapping up at lap 188. Effectively, the structure has been inverted, 98 laps followed by two 45-lap segments. This directive originated from the office of John Probst, NASCAR's Executive Vice President and Chief Racing Development Officer. His explanation, delivered during the Holotalk podcast, provided a window into the complex calculus of governing a sport where speed and spectacle are constantly in conflict. Since the Daytona 500, the feedback loop between the racing surface and the glass-enclosed offices of the governing body had been loud and consistent. Teams and NASCAR officials had been locked in deep deliberation, analyzing the mechanics of the sport's most polarizing issue, the fuel-saving phenomenon. The deliberation was categorized into two distinct fronts. First, there was the sporting side, a domain of rules, pit stop regulations, and stage length mandates. Second, there was the technical side, the physical heart of the machine, encompassing everything from horsepower output to spoiler configurations. It was here that the caution flags waved in the minds of the leadership. Probst made it unequivocally clear that the appetite for drastic mid-season technical overhauls was non-existent. There is an inherent paralyzing fear in the garage regarding the unintended consequences of altering the car's geometry in the middle of a campaign. To mess with the engine or the aerodynamics now is to invite potential disaster, leaving teams with unstable platforms and unpredictable performance. Thus, the safer, more surgical route was chosen: leverage the stage lengths. By compressing the final two stages into shorter windows, the logic follows that drivers will no longer have the luxury of conservation. The distance is short enough that a full-throttle assault theoretically removes the need for a fuel stop. It is a gamble on human nature and team strategy. If the car does not need to pause for fuel, the imperative to save vanishes, replaced by the necessity to push. However, even the architects of this change acknowledge the variables at play. Probst admitted that the opening stage remains a wild card, a potential tactical trap. Some teams will undoubtedly attempt to stretch their fuel window, seeking a single-stop strategy, while others will chase the aggression of a two-stop run. Should the teams pushing for two stops begin to dictate the pace, dragging the one-stop contingent into a faster rhythm, the entire strategic plan could implode. NASCAR is essentially attempting to curate unpredictability, creating a scenario where the race becomes a puzzle that evolves in real time. Yet, as with any major strategic shift, there is the voice of experience, the gritty, unvarnished perspective from the front lines. Enter Kyle Busch, a two-time Cup Series champion, a man who has lived through the evolution of the sport's dynamics. He stands as a formidable skeptic. He is not buying the narrative that a reconfigured stage map is the panacea for the ills of superspeedway racing. Busch's assessment is cold and clinical. He argues that the structural changes will do little to mitigate the fundamental ingenuity of the team environment. Crew chiefs are, by trade, masters of extracting maximum utility from any set of constraints. They are always looking for the margin, the sliver of space where fuel can be conserved or speed can be gained. To believe that shorter stages will magically excise this behavior is, in his eyes, a misunderstanding of the modern garage. The hunger for track position is an relentless force, and it will manifest regardless of where the caution lights blink at the end of a stage. His critique digs deeper, exposing the structural flaws of the racing dynamic itself. According to Busch, the current malaise is not a product of segment lengths, it is a crisis of racing dynamics. He paints a picture of a sport where the lane for advancement has been choked off. When the field is locked in a three-wide formation, throttle management becomes the only language spoken. If the cars are locked in a cage of aerodynamics, changing the duration of the stage is simply rearranging the furniture in a room where the door has been locked. This creates a duality for the upcoming weekend. On one side, you have the governing body, attempting to influence the outcome through strategic structure, hoping to avoid the seismic shift of changing the car's build. They are betting that forcing the hand of the drivers will induce a more aggressive, free-flowing brand of competition. On the other side, you have the seasoned veteran, warning that the rot is deeper, that the racing dynamic itself is the true culprit, and that no amount of stage-length maneuvering will cure a patient that is fundamentally misaligned. The importance of this event at Talladega has expanded significantly. It is no longer just a race for points or a trophy, it has become a litmus test. It is an examination of NASCAR's current philosophy of governance. If the result is a thrilling, aggressive display of speed, a race where the drivers are pushed to the edge because they have to be, then the path forward is clear. It would validate the idea that creative, non-technical changes can suffice, allowing the series to maintain stability without the volatility of mid-season mechanical shifts. Conversely, if the race unfolds as a familiar parade, if the cars remain locked in the bottom groove, and if the strategic gamesmanship merely shifts from fuel saving to tyre management or track position battles, the pressure on NASCAR will mount. The demand for those hard technical decisions, the adjustments to horsepower, to spoilers, to the very DNA of the car, will reach a fever pitch. We are drifting toward a defining moment in the season. Each decision, each stage point, and each strategy call now carries the weight of a playoff run. The margin for error is shrinking. It is a high-stakes environment where every team is looking for the advantage that will catapult them into the postseason. The track itself, with its towering banks and legendary history, will serve as the final judge. There is a nervous energy in the air. The fans are watching, divided between the hope for a revolution in racing quality and the cynicism born of years of watching teams outmaneuver the rulebook. The skepticism is warranted, but there is also a flicker of curiosity. Could this be the spark? Could the shorter final stages ignite the kind of desperation that forces drivers to go three wide, to take lines they wouldn't normally take, to treat the race like the sprint it was intended to be? Ultimately, the spectacle will begin on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern, and the world will watch as the green flag waves. The cars will roar to life, the engines will sing their familiar deafening chorus, and the test will begin. In the final analysis, there is a certain respect due to the attempt. NASCAR is not remaining static, they are engaged in a dialogue with their sport. They are not satisfied with the status quo, and that in itself is a testament to the health of the desire to improve. Whether this specific solution is the key to unlocking the racing is almost secondary to the reality that the sport is actively searching for the lock. As the sun rises over the track this weekend, the question remains unanswered. It is a blend of hope and skepticism, a reflection of the complicated relationship between the fans, the drivers, and the organizers. One thing is certain, the eyes of the racing world will be fixed on the asphalt. Every lap, every pit stop, every maneuver will be scrutinized for a hint of the future. We are about to find out if the remedy is in the rules, or if the cure lies somewhere deeper, hidden within the complex, unforgiving machinery of the modern race car. The stage is set. The strategy is locked. Now it is time for the cars to do what they were built to do. This is the promise of sport, the possibility of the unexpected. And on this particular weekend, the possibilities seem more varied than they have been in a long time. The tension, the debate, the skepticism, all of it serves to heighten the drama. We are not just waiting for a race, we are waiting for a resolution to a conflict that has been simmering for months. As the sun begins to climb, casting long shadows across the paddock, one can almost feel the weight of the moment. The history of this track is written in the stories of those who dared to push the limits, those who thrived in the chaos, and those who were consumed by it. And this weekend, a new chapter will be added. Whether it is a story of triumph for the strategists or a cautionary tale for those who thought they could dictate the terms of engagement remains to be seen. Everything is in position. The cars are prepped, the strategy meetings are concluding, and the drivers are preparing to strap in. The atmosphere is thick with the promise of speed and the looming spectre of the unknown. We are at the threshold of a new chapter in NASCAR history. The adjustments are made, the challenges are clear, and the path forward is drawn on the blueprints of the race plan.